Hey guys, it's day 3. I just want to say well done. You're doing so incredible. For a lot of people, this can be the toughest day. I will say that everybody fasts differently. So some people actually have no symptoms whatsoever while they're fasting as far as detoxification. Some people feel amazing the whole time, but a lot of us will struggle a bit, both physically, but very much emotionally and spiritually and mentally. You know, Fasting can bring up a lot. It really, really can. And just a little piece of sort of ancient wisdom. They believe that every day that you water fast, you're going back a year in your life. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this journey. Journal about it. And if there's a particularly hard day, there's a day where there's some certain emotions coming up that haven't come up in a long time, really just embrace it, reflect on it, journal about it. And we're going to talk about this, leading up to the fast, how to prepare. But I really encourage people to switch out the outside noise and really to go deep, let go of all distractions, let go of the social media for now. Don't sit there and just binge watch television. Allow yourself to just be still and see what comes up. But today, we're going to be talking about how emotions and your mindset affect your physical health and your healing and your well-being. This is the stuff that really ignites me. It it's huge. It's amazing, incredible to see people heal physically. I'm just blown away, by the amount of people that have healed themselves from different chronic conditions. But to heal generational trauma, to repair broken relationships with other people and yourself, letting go of destructive habits and beliefs. This has a ripple effect that's going to affect the rest of your life. It's going to affect the people around you, your friends, family, community. And who knows, like maybe it's the actual meaning of life and being here is to move through and process these emotions and challenges and traumas that we go through. I can tell you now, our emotional health and the people that we surround ourselves with play a very big role in our ability to heal. I think that is often the most overlooked piece in the whole puzzle. And it's what's going to set this experience apart. Because, you know, true well-being it's holistic. I know that word is thrown out around a lot, but it's true. There's plenty of people that just focus on the physical side of health. They work out plenty, they eat a good diet, they're really anal about every little thing that they do, but their relationships are in shambles. And from that, their physical health takes a huge toll. I've seen it all the time. And then on the other side, there's people that don't have it together. There's people that literally live to in their hundreds that smoke all the time. They drink wine every day in certain blue zones across the world. And somehow they live into their hundreds because they have a really amazing relationships and community and they're happy. That cannot be understated. That if you have the sense of fulfillment with life, if the people that you have surrounded yourself with really fill you up and just give you so much gratitude, like that's going to do so much for your physical well-being. So I really want you to take this time to go deep on this. And honestly, this is where people are most resistant. It's not easy. It's not easy to do this sort of thing. It takes being vulnerable. And I love this exercise of like, and you can do this on your own. You can do this with a friend, family, or loved one. But just writing down, if you really knew me, what would you say to somebody? If you really knew me, fill in the blank. And I'll just be honest with you guys. If you really knew me, I experienced a lot of childhood trauma. I experienced things over sexualization as a child that really made it hard to maintain relationships growing up, and I had a lot to deal with. I now see it as a blessing. I see the darkest part of myself, the hardest things to overcome, is actually the greatest rewards in life. But that hasn't always been easy. It took a lot of work, took a lot of vulnerability. But this is where the gold is. It's in those vulnerable parts of ourselves. And if you are someone that's trying to heal from a physical ailment, and you've tried all of the physical things, you've tried every supplement out there, you've tried every diet, you've tried every fill in the blank, just take a hard look at yourself. Have you gone to those uncomfortable places emotionally? Have you dealt with maybe some childhood stuff? Have you dealt with the relationships that you're around? Like, if you have toxic relationships, good luck trying to heal physically. I hate to say that, but honestly, it's something that has to shift. Okay, you can't go about the rest of your life not liking who you are, who you're surrounded by. Sorry, I'm going a little bit deep here, but it is really important. And people often ask me, what's the determining factor between people that heal from something and people that don't? Because, through fasting hundreds of people, not everybody has the same outcome. And I'm an observant person. And what I've seen is it's their mindset. It's their ability to go deep emotionally, heal trauma, rewire subconscious beliefs, increase their sense of self-worth, along with the physical things. Of course, the physical things matter. And I think the physical raises our mental. And it's an important thing to ask yourself, do you actually want to heal? I know that sounds like a funny question. Maybe you've never been asked that, but from my observation, I've encountered people that I believe actually don't want to. Maybe consciously they don't realize that, but I've ran into people that are so caught up in their story of being unwell that they really identify with that, and they have attached themselves to whatever label it is. I've got this, I am this, and they receive attention from that, and subconsciously I don't think they want to get better. It's like if you've had a condition or something like that for so long, and maybe it's inhibited your ability to work, to socialize, to do all these things. And what if you actually did heal from something like that? Do you even know who you would be or who you are without this label of, I have an autoimmune condition, I've got whatever it is? It's an important thing to ask yourself. I had this conversation with a lady who's coming in very soon, actually. And she shared with me, I won't mention any names, obviously it's very private to her, but she was journaling about what her intentions are around wanting to do a fast. And she's actually later in life, which is even more profound. I think that, someone much later in life would go this deep emotionally and be that open and vulnerable. I think it's rare to have that, but she was like, actually, I'm afraid. I have anxiety around being better and being okay. I was like, whoa, it's like mind blowing. But I think a lot of people actually feel this because it's like, who am I if I'm not this? So it's an important piece to come down to and really anchor into and start to try to sort this stuff out. But our mindset, what we believe about something, can actually affect our physical body. So I want to tell you about this study. It's called Mind Over Milkshake. Probably making you hungry right now. Sorry, during your fast. But in this study, they took a bunch of people, they split them into two groups, okay? And I hope you can follow along here. Split them into two groups, and they gave everyone in this study a milkshake that was about 500 calories, okay? So everyone in the study got the same milkshake that was about 500 calories. The only difference was half the group, they were told that the milkshake was, I can't remember exact details, but about 800 calories. Okay, so they were like, it's very rich. It's going to make you extremely full. You probably won't need a meal for, hours after this. It's like a big meal replacement. And then they told the other group that it was something like 300 calories or 250 calories. And they said it's really light. You're probably going to be pretty hungry after this. There's not much in it. Da, da, da. Again, same milkshake to the whole group. And then they tested something called ghrelin, which is our appetite hormone, in all of the participants. And guess what happened? In the group that had the smoothie that they were told was 250 calories, 300 calories, but again, all the same for both groups, ghrelin was really high. So they were actually really hungry. This appetite hormone went way up. And then in the group that they were told it was an 800 calorie smoothie, it was really down. Their physiology said they were full or really hungry, depending on what they were told. To me, this is really mind-blowing. I know everybody's been told about the placebo effect, but it is very powerful what you believe about something. And they've done other studies with this as well. What's his name? It'll come to me in a moment. It's the guy that does all the meditations and all these different things. He's done different studies on people that have had meniscus tears. And they took a whole group of people that had meniscus injuries that were told they were going to have surgery. And half of the participants, they just opened up. So they thought they got the surgery, but they just cut them open and then stitched them back up. The other group, they opened them up, did the surgery, sewed them back shut, and guess which group actually healed better and had a better recovery? It was actually the group that didn't have the actual surgery. They were just told that they had the meniscus surgery. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. So, moving on. So quantum physics, the study of the universe and how everything works, reveals that everything is made up of energy and frequency. And did you know that your emotional frequency can literally change your physiology? So if everything has a frequency, love has a frequency, hate, guilt, shame, happiness, and it can change your physiology. Your body actually holds on to these frequencies. They say the issues stay in our tissues. And they've actually proved specifically that water can hold memory of frequencies. This is pretty wild. So water, just water, has memory. It can hold memory of frequencies. So if I'm angry, this water is feeling it. And they've proved this. So there's a guy by the name of Dr. Masaru Emoto. He took photos of water crystals after being frozen and studied the effects of external influences on these crystals. Now, before we get into this, remember, we are 75 to 85% water, depending on how hydrated we are, what organ we're talking about, but we are mostly water, us. And water can hold memory of frequency. So words, the emotions and people and energies that you surround yourself with are very, very powerful. And this is going to be the hardest thing to change in your life if things aren't right. If you're in a toxic relationship or something, it's going to be the hardest thing to change. Check out this photo. So these are frozen water crystals by that guy, Dr. Masaru Emoto. And this is what they look like depending on what they were told or what frequency was going on. So when water is told, thank you, wisdom, truth, eternal, I love you, they have perfect symmetry and all these beautiful shapes start to show up. But if you tell the water, you fool, you make me sick, you're evil, or polluted water, it blows apart the structure. There's no harmony whatsoever. And again, we're mostly water. So what happens if you're in a toxic environment all the time? If you grew up in a toxic environment, what's happening to your waters? It's not good. It needs to be sorted out. Look at this. Look at prayer. Look at water after prayer. Polluted water after prayer. Incredible. Here's another test you can do. So this is called the rice experiment, the rice test. You can look up YouTube videos on people doing this, or you can try it yourself. Maybe not while you're fasting. You might eat the rice. So what you do is you cook rice and you put it into either 2 jars, 3 jars, and you label it with love, nothing, hate, as you can see on the screen. And you put them in different ends of the house. So the one that says nothing, you just leave it alone. The one that says love, you put it at one end of the house, maybe your favorite room. And then the hate one, you put it in the room that you don't usually go to or something. And then every time you're feeling good, you go up to the love rice and they're like, I love you. You're amazing. You're cooked perfectly. You're nice and fluffy. You're a nice side dish. I love you in sushi. Whatever you want to say. You just really gas up the rice. You're just like, you're the best. You really just lay some love on it. And then if you're ever feeling tired or frustrated or angry or hangry, or maybe you're fasting and you're hangry now, go to the hate rice. Just be like, I hate you. You're the worst. Whatever, and just like abuse the rice verbally and see what happens. This will happen every time. The rice that is either neglected or especially the one that you're sending all this hate towards will start to rot and go putrid very, very quickly. These photos that you're looking at in front of you, this rice was cooked at the same time, put in the jar in the same time, same batch. Very different outcomes. How wild is that? And then think about, why have we prayed over food for thousands of years? It's interesting. And how many times are we just shoveling food without even thinking about it? Or how many times do you eat food and you're like, oh, I shouldn't be eating this. This is the word, abuse to yourself and what you're eating. It's not good. I'm telling you, it plays a very big part in your physical health. Big time. So just, if your thoughts are doing this to rice, imagine what your thoughts are doing to your physical body. Just think about that for a second. So think about this. What happens if you're told your whole life that you're not good enough, you're a bad little boy or girl, you're stupid, you're a loser? Then what happens oftentimes is then you proceed to tell yourself these things. The same story over and over again. Well, I mean, if everybody else says it, I guess I am this, I am this, I am that. And then you live with this abusive person your whole life in your own head. And then these stories, and they are stories, turn into beliefs that then become part of your subconscious mind. And then you begin to identify with those beliefs. And what you will do is you will go out in the world and you will recreate scenarios to reaffirm that belief. Because we get what we put out there. Truly. It's a law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. This is why you see women in these abusive relationships, is they have a belief that they're not good enough, that they're not worthy of love, whatever it is, and they'll stay with these super abusive people, and then they'll move on maybe to another relationship, and they'll find that same person over and over and over again. It's because they're reaffirming these subconscious beliefs that they have about themselves. Maybe in your conscious mind, you're thinking, I don't want that. I don't want to be living this life. I want to find a good person. But your subconscious is on another page. They're not aligned. Tell yourself, I'm not talented. I'll never succeed. I can't trust anyone. I'm a burden. I'm ugly. I'll never find love. I don't deserve love. They're all stories, and it's important to know that they're not true. They're not true. They're stories. You may think they're true, but they're not. So now we're going to cut into a video. by Bruce Lipton about rewiring your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is many times more powerful than the conscious mind. It dictates 95% of your thoughts, behaviors, actions. And you'll see this video by Bruce Lipton. He's a PhD, a cell biologist. Lipton's research in cell biology led him to conclude that the environment surrounding the cells, not the genes themselves, play the key role in how cells function. His work emphasizes that genes are not deterministic, but instead they are responsive to signals from their environment. So the same way that water crystals are affected by our words, so are our cells, the cells in our body. This is the foundation of epigenetics, the study of how external factors can influence your gene expression. Genes are not deterministic. Just because you have cancer in your family, you have depression in your family, you have fill in the blank with your family, does not mean that's you. It's actually all the other stuff that matters. This is like the meme you'll see online. It's kind of brutal, but it says, obesity runs in your family because no one runs in your family. It's like, it's true. It's about our environment and our habits, our subconscious beliefs that actually will change our physiology. So we're going to cut into that video.
These programs can change a belief you had your entire life in maybe 15, 20 minutes. Many of them create a state of super learning like you were when you were an infant. Yet there is a better and faster way even. The mind has two parts. The subconscious mind is the original brain, and it can process 40 million bits of data from the environment every second. The mind is very powerful and very fast, but it's totally habitual. It's not creative. It can only play back what it learns. In evolution, the front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, gives rise to consciousness. It's a small piece of the brain that is consciousness. Self or consciousness is an add-on option, and most people don't exercise the option. But note, it can process only about 40 bits of data per second. The subconscious mind is 1 million times more powerful. While the subconscious mind is fast, the conscious mind is slow at processing. That's why when you're in an emergency or stress, you operate from this one because it can operate fast and handle lots of data. But the difference between the two is this is habitual. It is the conscious mind that is creative and can generate free will. The conscious mind can control anything in your entire body. They used to say there were parts of our body that were involuntary control. But now we know that's not true. For example, yogis can regulate their heartbeat, their blood pressure, or body temperature with conscious mind. So while the conscious mind can only handle a few things, the subconscious mind can do many thousands of tasks at the same time. Now recently, neuroscientists are talking about how your unconscious really shapes your life, your decisions. What they say, according to cognitive neuroscientists, we are conscious of only about 5% of our cognitive activity. Most people, 1% of their day is in the conscious mind. So every day, you create only from your creation mind, your conscious mind, only about 1% of what is going on in your life. And therefore, 95 to 99% of your life comes from your programming in your subconscious mind. So what this means is maybe you were the child in the store and your parents said you do not deserve. 95% of the day you will sabotage your life to make sure you do not deserve. And the reason why is The subconscious job is to create reality out of the program. And so therefore, if you have negative programming, 95% of the day, you will create that negative experience in your life. Now here's the problem. The conscious mind and the subconscious mind work together. So whatever the conscious mind focuses on, it can control, but what it's not focusing on, the subconscious mind controls. So most of our day, we are thinking about the future or thinking about the past. That's with the conscious mind. So if the conscious mind's not paying attention to right now, then everything you're doing during the day is being run by the program that you got. But the problem is, because your mind is not, the conscious mind's not paying attention, then it does not see the program being played by the subconscious mind. So most of every day, you are not playing programs that you personally want, you're playing programs that you got from other people. But you didn't see those programs, so when your life doesn't work, you say the universe does not support me. And yet the truth was, it was your own invisible behavior that sabotaged you. So what's important is some people say, well, maybe I just do some positive thinking. Which mind does the positive thinking, conscious or subconscious? The conscious mind, which works at 5% a day with a 40-bit processor. And when you're doing your consciousness, are you paying attention to what's going on? Who's running the show? The experiential programs from the subconscious mind, and that is 95% of the day with 40 million bit processor. Does positive thinking work? Do the math. And the issue is that it's very difficult to take a small processor and overpower the large processor. And you have to use what is called willpower with the emphasis on power to override. Now here is the second catch, or the second problem. The subconscious mind is like a recorder tape player. It records an experience, and then when you push the button, it plays the experience back. So then we take our conscious mind and we want to talk to the subconscious mind and change the program. Now think about it this way. You have a tape player and I give you a cassette with a program. You put the tape in and you push play. And the program is going, you say, I don't like the program. Then you go up to the tape player and you say, change the program, change the program. The issue is the tape will not change by doing that. But there are ways to change the program if you know how to push the record button. So your life does not reflect what you want, it reflects the program you were given. So one way out is consciousness. Just be conscious and then you don't play the tape. A second way out, clinical hypnotherapy, because that puts you back in the same brain state that you were in the learning period. And then you can put a new program and rewrite the tape. Yet there is a better and faster way even. There's a group of new psychology modalities called energy psychology. There are many different versions. For example, holographic repatterning, body talk, EMDR, EFT. The one I am most familiar with is Psych-K, P-S-Y-C-H-K. These programs are like pushing the record button on the tape player. These programs can change a belief you had your entire life in maybe 15-20 minutes. Many of them, like Psych-K, create a state of super learning like you were when you were an infant. But I'm now going to show you how your thoughts go out and affect your life on the outside. EEG, you put wires on your skin and read the brain activity. MEG, the probe does not even touch the head. You can read your brain activity outside of your head. It's not magic. When a nerve carries a signal, it's like an electric wire. It has an electrical component, and so the electric component can be picked up by electrodes on the skin. But when a wire is carrying a current, it also has a magnetic field around it. The magnetic field passes through the skin. Your thoughts are not contained in your head. The people that you get connected to, you are entangled with. And many people are familiar, if you think about someone or talk about someone you haven't seen for years, and I say, oh, I haven't seen my friend John in 10 years, and the phone rings and it's John. It's like the placebo nocebo. When you think very positive thoughts of someone, they make an effort to get in touch with you. But it works both ways. If you have a negative thought about somebody, wherever they are, they will create negative talk about you. So it's very important to recognize your thoughts and your judgments are not just connected to you, they're connected to the people you talk about. You are exciting and activating those things in the world that are connected to your thoughts. When a mugger is trying to pick out which person he's going to attack, of the different people walking down the street, which one do you think gets attacked? The one who is most afraid. Because the one who's most afraid will resonate, and that means that the mugger doesn't have to do anything to go boo, and everyone will give him everything.
So there it is. It's incredible, and I can really attest to that modality that he mentioned at the end called Psych-K. It's a extremely powerful tool. My wife Bree is a trained Psych-K facilitator, and I've seen it work real time. I can tell you that I am a skeptical person. I'm not really good at, like, if someone just throws something my way, I'm like, I got to get on the bottom of this. If something sounds really good, it sounds too good to be true, I'm like, I've got to look into this. So, but Psych-K I've seen work real time in person. So, just briefly want to tell you a story. I've got an 8-year-old stepdaughter. Her name's Lola. Especially, a couple of years ago, she was just a lot of energy, very high energy. She got a huge personality. She's such a beautiful girl, but she can be, difficult at times. Throw some real tantrums, like really meltdowns, like crazy. And this was happening in the car one time, and in the back seat, she's just losing it, fully like hyperventilating, angry, screaming at us. And I saw my wife Bree in the passenger seat, and she puts her head down and she starts doing these things called balances that you do in Psych-K. So she's doing balances on Lola. So Lola's not even truly involved in the process, which is pretty wild. So Bree starts to surrogate for Lola. She starts to do these balances for her, and she's balancing these things that she thinks she might be feeling, like I'm not safe, I feel out of control, whatever it is that she's sort of picking up on what Lola is feeling. Starts to do these balances on her, starts instilling these other beliefs, like I am safe, I am loved, I am whatever, fill in the blank. And in real time, I saw Lola go from totally like almost manic, just freaking out, to she went silent. I was like, okay, that's weird. Kind of looked back, and she looked calm. She was quiet for about 30 seconds, and then she proceeds to start. She's like, Mommy, where are we going? When will we be there? And she just starts talking totally normal and calm, like nothing even happened. That is not coincidence. That is the power of Psych-K. And this works in adults. This works with bigger situations, more than just a tantrum in a child. It changed Bree's life. We do it all the time, relationship balances, things with work, whatever it is. When you align the subconscious and the conscious mind, things can happen very quickly. So, and we've seen it with people that come to the center. When they start doing this more, subconscious work, working with the quantum, people that have been going to therapy for decades and not getting anywhere, just ruminating on the same old BS and all the problems in their life and just talking about it over and over and over and over and over again. I think therapy can be amazing. Of course it is, but I think it's very limited. And if you've been going for years and years and years and you haven't seen any difference, and in fact, maybe you feel worse, you got to change things up. And this is an amazing option, and things can happen quickly, really quickly. And that gets me into fasting. This all comes back to the fasting as well. Fasting is a spiritual practice that has been used for thousands of years. It's all throughout the Bible as a way to connect with yourself and connect with God, or whatever you believe in. I believe in God, but it's amazing its effect on our emotional well-being. Fasting has this ability to peel back the layers of a person, revealing the hidden truths and what's really lying beneath, and all these masks that you've put on throughout the years of showing up as this way for this person or that way for this person, or it comes back to who you really are. You come back to this like almost inner child version of yourself, and it changed the course of my life. So this is what got me so passionate about fasting. I come from a long line of healers. My dad and my brother have both been in the health space, educating people, running retreats for decades and decades. So I've grown up in this space, but I wasn't always living it. Fasting totally changed the trajectory of my life, and I hope you guys don't mind hearing this story. But if we rewind quite a few years ago, 2019, I was in the worst place I've ever been. I've always been pretty happy my whole life, but I found myself in a place where I was like, I wouldn't say suicidal, but I didn't see the point in life anymore. And I would just wake up and I was like, I don't want to live anymore. And that was very new to me, and obviously very distressful. I was living in Perth, WA, with my ex-wife. And this, obviously there's nothing, not putting her down whatsoever. Beautiful lady. We still talk on a somewhat regular occasion, but we just didn't work out. But anyways, I'm back in 2019. I'm with my ex-wife, and I'm living in WA. I'm American. I'm like half a world away, about as far as you can get from my friends and family, and all of a sudden I'm in this relationship where we were just not working out. We were sleeping in separate bedrooms. We were not connected. Neither of us were happy in the relationship. I was working a job that I absolutely hated. I was working as a garage door repairman. I was working ridiculous hours, barely making ends meet, on call all the time. But on top of that, I had a lot of emotional things that I'd never worked through. And how I tended to work through it was distraction. I was the master of distraction. Everyone you could think of, I was every single day, usually drinking and smoking weed, watching pornography, scrolling social media endlessly, playing video games for a ridiculous amount of time. Every distraction you can think of, I was doing it. Every time any uncomfortable emotion would come up, I would distract myself. And there was a lot of uncomfortable emotions, so there was a lot of distraction. And it was constant. And this is just how I was never taught how to process emotions in a healthy way. My family is like sweep it under the rug. Negative emotion, we don't want that. That's uncomfortable. Sweep it under the rug. And that's just how we were raised. And look, I love my parents. I'm sure they just did the best with the tools they had, but that's what I would do. Just sweep under the rug. And it wasn't helpful in relationships, but that's where I found myself, is in this really bad place. And it all came to a head when I started telling myself, I don't know if I want to live anymore. And God sent me a big smack in the face, big time. So what happened was I had this near-death experience at work. So I hope I can explain this in a way that isn't too boring, but I was working as a garage door repairman, and that day I was working on a commercial garage door. So I usually did the residential stuff, but this time I was doing the commercial, and I was working with a guy that was the senior guy. Had just been hired on from another company. We didn't realize at the time that he was let go from the previous company because he he had massive memory loss and he was just forgetting things on the job and how to do stuff. And we had no idea at the time. And I was paired up with this guy. So our job was to go in and remove this big roll-up door. So this big garage door, you can imagine it like blinds that you roll up with a little, you pull it up and down with like the little chain on the side of your window sill, and then you slowly let it back down. That's essentially what it was on a very, very massive scale that you see in like automotive shops and stuff like that. But this door had been stuck in the down position for about 20 years, and it was really rusted and old, and we were getting rid of that one and putting in a new one. And to remove it, that's what we had to do. So I said, should I take the tension off of the door before I remove it? And what I mean by that is there is a spring up in the top of this door that lifts the weight of the door. So there's a spring that is torqued and cocked up, ready to lift like 1,000 pounds or 500 kilograms. And you need to release that tension before you take anything off. And I said, do I need to release the tension? And he said, and he went up to this little manual chain, kind of like you'd be lifting your blinds up and down, this big chain. And he kind of tugged on it and he's like, nah, it's fine. And I thought to myself, that does not sound right at all. But didn't listen to it. I was like, whatever, he knows what he's doing. So he's like, just cut off the top of the door with a metal grinder and then we'll take off the rest. And I was like, okay. So I'm up there on the top of my ladder and I'm cutting with this metal grinder. And I get to the last couple of feet and the door was under tension. So this rusty, jagged metal ripped off and spun around in a circle about 10 times in a second. It was like a bomb went off. There's drywall falling from the ceiling. This rusty, jagged metal cut up my whole head. I didn't have any like helmet or anything on. Luckily, I had safety goggles. And I'm bleeding from my head, and my ears are ringing. And I crawl down from my ladder, and I just break down, hysterically crying. I'm not a super emotional person, or I wasn't, especially at that point. But I just had a full breakdown because I realized, had I died in that moment, I'm not living the life I want to live. I don't know what the heck I'm doing with my life. Why am I choosing this? It was so interesting. It was actually a real moment of clarity as well, this near-death experience. And I couldn't shake it. When that happened, I could not shake it. I was like, something's got to change. Something has to change. And so I called my brother, Tyler. He's here in the photo. This is me on the top right. He's the one in the blue shirt with the warrior face going. And I call him and I just start spilling my guts to him. We're very close, and I'm just telling him, like, I don't know what to do in life. I'm miserable. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I hate my job. I hate what I do. I just don't know how to. It's like I was like, I want to do what you're doing. I've always wanted to do what both my dad and my brother do, but I'm very different. I don't like to be the center of attention. I never thought I had what it takes to actually live and pursue the dreams of what I wanted to do and have anything to offer people. Just all negative beliefs I had about myself. And he just listened and listened for maybe like 15 minutes. And then he's like, look, you need to drop everything you're doing and you need to come out to Bali and you need to come do a 10-day water fast with me. It's so interesting, the timing of you calling me, because I'm about to do a 10-day water fast with a bunch of other guys, and it's in a couple of weeks. And I can't tell you, it was an absolute sign from God. At the time, I didn't believe in God. This is more of a new thing. I'm new to faith, but it was him speaking to me. It was a full body, like, yes, this is absolutely what I have to do. I didn't even know why. I was like if I thought about it logically at the time, I would have been like, how is this going to work? But I just knew. It was a knowing. I was like, I have to go do this. Every cell in my body was like, you've got to do this. I didn't know why, but I just knew I had to. And so I had to move heaven and earth to get there. My work was angry for me taking off work on short notice. I didn't have any money. I had to sell stuff just to get the tickets to go to Bali, but I did. Made it happen. And I can tell you now, I didn't even really prepare for the fast at the time. I just went and did it. And all of a sudden I went from being fully distracted Thor doing all those things, porn, alcohol, weed, video games all the time, never addressing emotions, to all of a sudden I'm in the jungle of Bali and I'm so far away from even the nearest airport. It's like a couple hour bus ride just to get to the property we were going to. Didn't even have cell phone service. And so all of a sudden I'm there in the jungle of Bali. I don't have food. I'm just drinking water. I don't have cell phone. I didn't even really bring any books. I was just sitting in my shit. And I'll tell you now, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I was detoxing so much physically, but so much mentally and emotionally. Every uncomfortable thought and emotion and memory I've ever pushed down was coming to the surface in full force over and over again. And I was just processing so much. Had this crazy experience of having this demonic possession, not possession, but this crazy dream that a demon was trying to hang on to me, and then it left, and it was angry because I was doing this, and really wild stuff. And I woke up on day, I think 4 or 5. I did video journals of all this stuff, but day 4 or 5, and I felt like a completely new human. I woke up and I had so much clarity. This anxiety that was in the pit of my stomach all the time was gone. This depression was gone. And I knew exactly where I was going in life. And it was all clear. I wasn't indecisive like I usually was. I knew exactly who I was. I knew exactly where I had been, where I'm going, and who I am. It was just this full clarity piece that had happened for me. And I was like, I'm gonna go back to Perth. I'm actually gonna move to Bali. I'm gonna sell all my stuff. I'm gonna move to Bali. I want to get out of this relationship. It's not working for us. I'm going to become a health coach. I'm going to pursue my dream, and I'm not 1 foot in, 1 foot out anymore. I always say now that God can smell your bullshit. He knows when you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out of something. When you always have a backup plan, when you're like, I'll do this when this happens, or I'll tell you right now, you will not have the support. When you fully commit, no strings attached to anything else, both feet in, dive right in, all of the doors will open up to you. And that's what happened to me. And I've heard this from a lot of people. And from that moment, it's led me to where I am now. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful family. I have so much purpose. I love what I do. I've got beautiful community and people around me. Yes, life is always going to have its challenges, but I love my life now. I mean, I found God as well. It was the most transformational piece, and it all started from this fast. Totally changed everything. So fasting isn't just for people that have these physical conditions. It's also for people that have mental, emotional stresses and things going on as well. That's what totally changed it for me. So I hope I didn't bore you with that story. But I just thought it was important to share my experience around it, what has inspired me to doing the work that I'm doing now. And I want to share with you other people that have had similar journeys. So this is Alvaro, beautiful man. We met at a men's circle, sort of a day thing that we're doing here in Melbourne. My wife Bree and his wife Jade are good friends. But we went to a men's circle together, like a day thing. And I told him the story that I just told you now on the ride there, and I could tell it really stuck with him. He was like, "Wow, like it's pretty wild," and didn't think much of it. He didn't say, "Oh, I want to go do a fast" at the time, but I could tell it really like resonated and stuck with him. So I actually hear from him after this retreat, about a month later, and he says, "Thor, I've got to come do a fast with you guys." He said that him and his wife are thinking about splitting up. They had 2 beautiful young children, and that would just be devastating. Honestly, family splitting up. I know sometimes it needs to happen, but he had these emotional issues, and his mother passed away when he was when he was very young, and he had some anger things and pieces that he wasn't, addressing. And so he's like, I've just got to do something. I've got to save my marriage. And he's like, I think I need to come do a fast. So I was like, all right, let's get you in. So he came and did a 2-week stay with us, did a 10-day fast. And I'll tell you now, when he was dropped off, he looked like a scared puppy looking for his owner. He was like, I want to get out of here. He was someone that was like, if I even skip a meal, I start to feel like shaky and weak. But I just reassured him. I was like, you got this. Just remember your intentions of why you're doing this. And he went all in. He was nervous about the experience, but he truly went all in. And I'm telling you, day by day, he started to transform. And I've experienced this firsthand as well. But he started to reconnect and his relationship with God. He's reading the Bible. He read this book called The Way of the Superior Man. He fully embraced the fast and all the emotional pieces that we had, like breath work and art therapy and all these different things. It was just the most beautiful thing to see. And day by day by day, it was like the real him was coming through. When he arrived, he was like depressed, he was defeated, he was not happy. And by the end, it was like his light was just shining through and his energy was just infectious. And I would encourage you later to go check out our Instagram and watch his break fast ceremony, because with everyone, we have them close their eyes and we bring out this platter of fruit, and while his eyes were closed, we arranged actually for his wife to come and be there for his break fast. And they hadn't communicated the entire fast either. They were like, we're just going to take a break here, cease communication. And when he opened his eyes, his wife is sitting there in front of him, and it was like, boom, they both bursted into tears. Everyone there witnessing it was crying as well. It was such a beautiful experience. And they had this massive embrace of hugging each other. And you can see in the video, she says that you've changed. You've changed. I can see it. Such a beautiful experience. Women have this way of like knowing where people are at, and this intuition that I don't know if as many men are tapped into, but she knew that he had changed just by seeing him and just his energy. And the proof is in the pudding. The rubber meets the road when they go home. And literally saw something on Facebook a month or two later after this fast. They were running a couples workshop and retreat. So they went from being on the verge of devastating divorce, broken family. I don't love that word either. I know people have conscious separations all the time too, or decouplings or whatever you want to call it, but it was amazing. They stayed together and their relationship was totally healed. And it was 2 weeks. It wasn't like years of therapy and couples counseling and all this stuff. It was just real deep work. This is the work, man. I'm telling you, it's so powerful. Such a powerful story. This next one, just take a second real quick to look at these two photos. Okay? Just really observe them. Look at the face. The one on the left, the one that has the name Robin just above it, beautiful Robin, that is her before coming in. You can see how sad she is. You can see it in her eyes. She's depressed. She's beaten down. She's defeated. You can see on the left, she was at an all-time low emotionally and physically. She had no hope for the future. She had a lot of suicidal thoughts. She was a chronic alcoholic. She had been on antidepressants for 21 years, changing her brain chemistry. She got off of all of her medications. She drained inflammation out of her body, felt amazing physically. By the end, she was beaming with optimism and positivity off of all her medications. She was like a totally different person. When she first came in, she was a little bit quiet, reluctant to talk to anybody, just didn't look like she even wanted to be there. By the end, she's like the life of the party. She's freaking hilarious, such a beautiful, bright, happy person. And all she did was allow that time and space for herself to find the answers. We get so attached to who's going to help me, what person can I attach to, codependency of how we're going to make ourselves feel good and feel better, when we often have all the answers within. We just need to quiet the noise enough to actually receive it. Truly. Another awesome thing is that she had elevated liver markers before coming in, probably due to the drinking, and she got blood tests when she returned, and her liver markers are all back to normal. Just incredible. Yeah, profound stuff. So now I want to get into what are some things that you guys can do right away, take it home with you to improve your mental and emotional well-being. Well, guess what? You're doing it right now during this fast. You're doing all of the different therapies and things that we have, but just simply fasting is such a powerful emotional piece. But doing all of these other exercises with it just enhances the whole experience. But these are just a few things I think can drastically change your mental and emotional well-being, and they're easy to add in. One is affirmations. I know it sounds cheesy, but I'm telling you, they absolutely work. They absolutely work. It's been scientifically proven that it reduces stress. You're better at coping with adversity. It improves your problem-solving ability. It boosts self-compassion and well-being. It can increase your motivation, positive behaviors. It protects against negative thoughts and ruminating on them. So here's a few affirmations that I find really powerful, but you can use your own. So what I like to do with affirmations is think about we're killing it on the side of like the negative things that we tell about ourselves. So if you're telling yourself that I'm not good enough, I hate my body, I'm just such a bad person, whatever it is that you're saying about yourself, you got to flip it on its head. So if it's I'll never find love, I'm worthy of love. I will find love. I'm very lovable. So you got to flip it on its head. And if you say it and it shall be. Truly. So one I really love is I am a divine son or daughter of God. And I just want to take a moment. This isn't my time to, convert anybody, whatever, but I'm just telling you now that God has totally changed my life when I have aligned with my creator, because I do believe we're all created. I don't think that all of this is an accident. I just don't. Something very, 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 very intelligent and unimaginably powerful created all of this, and our creator loves us. It's a type of love that we have no words for. And I think especially for people that maybe didn't have the best upbringing or didn't have the best parents, knowing that there is a creator out there that does love you is very, very powerful for your self-worth. And guess what? It's true. My worth is 100%. That's a big one. I'll tell you right now that most mental and emotional distress comes back to your sense of self-worth. The reason why you're addicted, I'm not saying you, but the reason why someone might be addicted to sugar, or they can't seem to get up out of bed and work out even though they want to, or whatever it is, they don't think they're worthy of it. And if you don't change that, you're not going to pick up those healthy habits. So you've got to change this and know that your worth is 100%. And you may not feel like it, but I want to do a little exercise with you. So right now, close down your eyes, take a deep breath in, let it out, another deep breath in and out, relaxing. One last big deep breath in and hold at the top, hold the breath and let it out with some noise. Keep your eyes closed. I want you for a moment to imagine you're holding a beautiful newborn baby. It can be your own child, it could be a niece or nephew, or just a baby. Look into this baby's beautiful eyes. How perfect it is in its form. The innocence. And I want you to ask yourself, what is that baby's worth? Is it 50%, 60. I would imagine that you think it's 100%. And now I want you to see yourself as that baby. We were all that once innocent, beautiful child, and things got in the way. We had bad moments, maybe we were bullied. We were told that we're not cool, that we're not good enough. And it affected our sense of self-worth. And it's important to go back to the inner child and knowing that I am worthy, I am a divine being. I'm a divine son or daughter of God, and my worth is 100%. And I really hope that you tell yourself that every day. So opening up your eyes, let's come back to it. Another amazing one is I am lovable as I am. I don't need to be a certain way. I don't need to do certain things to be lovable. You're lovable just as you are. I can manage my emotions in healthy ways. A lot of people struggle with this. I certainly have in the past, of not managing my emotions in healthy ways, in really unhealthy ways. I am responsible for my happiness. That's a big one, especially for people in relationships. It's big. It's really big. You don't want to get into a codependent situation where you rely on another person for your happiness and well-being. Of course, you want your partner to be happy, and it could affect your energy, but ultimately, you are responsible for your own happiness. And I want to share with you, please get out your pen and notepad. I don't have it here in the presentation, but I'll put it in the side notes, but also just get a pen and paper and write this down. And I want to share something with you that has absolutely transformed my life and my relationship with my wife, Bree. And that is doing a daily check-in. So Bree and I do a daily check-in. I'm talking every single day, rain, hail, or shine. We've been doing this for a few years now. Even if we're in separate places, we call each other and we do this. We do a daily check-in. So I want you to write this down. If you're in a relationship, you can also do this with yourself, or you can do this with a friend, or you can also do these things with your children and things like that. So it's not exclusive to people that are in romantic relationships, but for people in romantic relationships especially, this is so powerful. It's a daily check-in. So we start it off, and we take turns doing this. Okay, so I'll start, and then she'll do it after, or vice versa. But we start off by setting our intention for the next day. So for instance, I might be like, you know what, tomorrow I want to have a high vibing, productive day. I've got lots of work to do and I just want to feel really good. Or I might be like, I'm feeling really burnt out. I just want to, have a wholesome, relaxed family day, stress-free. And this is really powerful to set that intention for the next day for yourself and also for your partner, because you might be on different pages, you might have different things going on, and it really is beneficial. So you're going to do that. You're going to set your intention for tomorrow, for the next day. My intention for tomorrow is, and then you're going to check in with each other on how you're doing on a few different levels. The first one is how you're doing emotionally. So emotionally, I'm feeling a little stressed out. I'm really feeling tapped out from the kids. I've been working a lot. Emotionally, I'm just feeling like a little bit of a wreck. I'm on the verge of crying, whatever. And just sharing with how it is. You're going to share how you're feeling socially. Socially, my cup's really filled. It was awesome going to dinner last night with friends and really feeling, good that way. Or, I haven't had any time to myself. I really need some time with the guys. I need to get out and I need to get away. Like, it's important to really check in and be honest with where you're at. And talk about how you're feeling mentally. Mentally, I'm just feeling really, really fatigued. I'm feeling just overwhelmed. Whatever it is. So mentally, you can talk about how you're feeling spiritually. And if you're spiritual, I hope you are. Um, I need to spend some more time in nature, or, I haven't really been praying a lot. I haven't really read the Bible. I skipped church this week, whatever it is, whatever spiritual means to you. And again, this is different for everybody, but having a spiritual connection and practice is important, and checking in with where you're at is so important. It's just taking note of where you're at. We never really actually stop to say, how's life going? We just go through the motions so quickly. How are you doing spiritually? How you're feeling financially? This can be a real stress point for a lot of people, or it might be really good. Financially feeling great. We're doing great in savings and all this stuff, or I'm feeling a little bit stressed out with finances, and I'm a little bit worried that you've been buying all this stuff online, and whatever it is, and just being honest. And this is your time to talk. The other person's not interrupting. Financially, how you're feeling sexually. This is such an important piece in a relationship. You might be on totally different pages. One of you might be like, I'm feeling really disconnected. We almost never kiss. We just having, quickie sex. We're not taking our time. We'd like to have a long session. So just, things that you could say, like more foreplay. But actually talking about it, a lot of us actually don't talk about it enough. But how are you feeling sexually in the relationship? It's so massive. And then the last thing you do is you give an overall, recap and view of how you feel the relationship is going, and anything that the other person could maybe do to improve that, or anything, if there's anything that you'd like the other person to change. And it's all about tone too. Tone is everything, okay? During these check-ins, we are calm, we are collected. I always say that it's not what was said, it's how it was said. It's oftentimes the tone, and if you say something with a little stank on it, and you're really trying to like trigger the other person, that's where the arguments start. But if you come heart open, just genuinely from your heart, and expressing how you're feeling, it's going to be fine. You can talk about whatever you want. And then you both go through this. So I hope you've written all that down. And again, I'll put it in the notes here. Man, oh man, is it a powerful piece. Communication is everything in a relationship, and everybody talks about that, but it's true, and it falls off with a lot of us. And what often happens is we have these little things in relationships that tend to build up and stack and stack and stack, and then blow up. It's like a pressure cooker, and these little things turn into big things, and they never have to. And it's often a breakdown in communication. So take the time to do this. I hope I didn't bore you with that, and I hope it's really useful. I found it so useful for me. Next up, for your mental and emotional well-being, you've got to get out in the sun. You absolutely have to. There's something called SAD, seasonal affective disorder. People that live in Alaska, Seattle, a lot of the UK, they have the highest suicide rates and mental health issues of anywhere in the world, and that's because they're not getting enough sun. It is directly correlated, 100%. Vitamin D is so important for your mental and emotional well-being, but also your physical health, your hormones, your immune system. If you drew my blood, you'd see all sorts of vitamins in there, but my body only produces one. That's vitamin D. It's very, very powerful. So a 2013 meta-analysis found that individuals with low vitamin D levels were significantly higher risk for depression. And it's just true. I mean, obviously you know that. So I won't bore you too much with all the stats and everything like that, but when you take a blood test, typically the range is between 50 and 150, and if you're at 51, then you're fine. You're not deficient. You've got to get higher than that. You should try to aim for like 100 and above. And it's best to get it from the sun. So when you get it from the sun, 100% of the time when you get vitamin D from the sun, it binds to the D binding protein and turns into 25 hydroxy vitamin D. That's a circulating form of vitamin D that our body can use. 100% of the time it converts. When you do it orally through supplementation, it only converts 60% of the time. So if you try supplementing and you can't seem to get it up, you've got to get out in the sun. Again, don't burn yourself. Build yourself up, build up a tan. And the other beneficial thing about it is that when it's absorbed from the sun, it lasts 2 to 3 times longer in the body than when it's taken orally. It's like this slow drip instead of getting it all at once. And it's just a form that our body actually recognizes. So another tip that you can do is when you get out in the sun, try to expose the parts of your body where the sun don't shine. Armpits, back of the knees, your bum, if it's appropriate, and if you're not going to get the neighbors calling the cops on you. But honestly, get out in the sun. The thinner skin parts of your body and the places that don't get a lot of sun, they actually absorb vitamin D much better. So you got to do it. And if you do need to supplement, and I do recommend supplementing if you are deficient, that's the only time I recommend any supplements is when you're deficient. Don't just take supplements just because you heard it was good. It's like, do you even know if you need that? Get blood work, find out. You want to supplement with about 10,000 IUs a day. Another one, connecting with nature is so dang important. We live in this matrix, this artificial reality that we've created where we live in little boxes and we're on our computers like I am right now, and I'm talking to nobody. Just joking, I'm talking to everybody. All you guys, all you beautiful people. But it's like we live in this really artificial environment and we're so disconnected from nature, and that really has negative effects on us. So it's important that you get out in nature. I'm not going to bore you with all the studies on the screen here. You can read them if you want to, but it is profound for your mental health and actually recovering from mental fatigue. So there was a study done out of the University of Utah, which is my home state, Utah. They fitted people with EEG caps, which is these caps that hold electrodes in place and they measure brain activity. And they were testing people and their ability to pay attention, and they're having them do these really like cognitively depleting tasks like counting backwards from 1,000, so like 1,000, 993, 986, 979, and so on. And what this did is it depleted their cognitive function. And this is similar to like running around and one thing to the next, doing the school run, text messages, email, like we do in normal life. It depletes us mentally. So after these mentally fatiguing tasks, they had people fitted with these caps, and they went out and they could see on their brain after these tasks that their brain was just like depleted, just totally fatigued. Then they went out into nature in this place called Red Butte Garden that's in Utah, beautiful place. And they just went out in nature, went for a little nature walk, spent some time out there, and then came back, and their brain was like fully recovered. So such an amazing thing to do at the end of the day. Get out in some nature, go for a nice little walk, go to a park. Don't listen to a podcast. Don't look at social media. Just go out and actually just be for a second and connect with your home, nature, or like what we're supposed to. Very powerful. Park, ocean, backyard, a couple examples. And the last one. This is practicing gratitude. Gratitude, to me, is the most powerful, profound emotion that we can tap into. And it can change your state like that. Just try this next time you're feeling totally out of sorts, just emotional, you feel like life is falling apart, you're anxious, having trouble breathing, getting a full breath. Just close your eyes and come to gratitude. What are you grateful for? Are you grateful you have a roof over your head? You've got water to drink? You're grateful for your family? Whatever it is, and just come back to just tell yourself what you're grateful for. And watch your whole reality and state shift very quickly. The most powerful emotion that we can tap into is gratitude. That's what I believe. And there's been plenty of studies to prove it. So reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety when they practice gratitude. Studies have found that practicing gratitude can reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety by promoting positive thinking and shifting focus away from negative emotions. A 2003 study found that people who kept a gratitude journal experienced a significant reduction in depressive symptoms. You're going to boost happiness. Regularly expressing gratitude increases happiness levels. Research by psychologist Robert Emmons found that people who wrote down things they were grateful for felt 25% happier than those who didn't. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. It's also got physical benefits, but we know that. So keep a gratitude journal. Write down what you're grateful for, or tell the people who you're grateful for that you're grateful for them. Actually saying it and verbalizing it can feel so good. Just telling me, man, I really love you, man. You're amazing. You're always there for me. I love spending time with you. Whatever it is, actually express it, experience it, and let it change your state. Don't get caught up in ruminating over negative BS. Thank you guys. This has been really awesome. I hope you have taken some things away from this. I hope you're doing really well in your fast. You're doing amazing. You're doing the work. And love you. Cheers.